Sorry? Kartal's his. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari प्रभु जी दूसरा मृदंगा दोगे जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जना वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरा जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. सत श्री श्रीमद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भागवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भागवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण विष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण विष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमो से सरस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारणे श्रीमद् So today we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 6, chapter number 4, entitled The Hamsaguya Prayers. And today we are covering two verses, 27 and 28. So these both verses has a little bit long purport. So as a standard method Prabhupada has shown us how to read, we'll read verse, then word-to-word translation and purport. So it may take a little while. Please pay attention. There are a lot of nice points Prabhupada has given in purport. I may ask you what you have heard in middle of class. So please pay attention and listen carefully. Text number 27 and 8. Manisino antaridi sannivistam. Manisino antaridi sannivistam. Swasakti navabhischa trividhibhi. Swasakti navabhischa trividhibhi. Vahnim yatha durani panchadashyam. Vahnim yatha daruni panchadasyam. Manisaya niskarasanti guhyam. Manishaya niskarasanti gudham. Savai mamasesa visheshamaya. Savai mamasesa visheshamaya. Nishedha nirvana sukhanubhutihi. Nishedha nirvana sukhanubhutihi. Sasarvanama sacha vishvarupaha. Sasarvanama sacha vishvarupaha. Prasidatam aniruktatma saktihi. Prasidatam aniruktatma saktihi. Someone would. Any Matajis? Thank you. We'll read word to word. Manishinaha, great learned Brahmanas, performing ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices. Antaharidi, within the core of the heart. Sannivesitam, being situated. Swashaktibihi, with his own spiritual potencies. Navabihi, also with the 9 different material potencies. The material nature, the total material energy, the ego, the mind and the 5 objects of the senses. Cha, and the 5 gross material elements and the 10 acting and knowledge gathering senses. Trivriddhi bhihi, by 3 material modes of nature. Vahanim, fire. Yatha, just like. Durani, within wood. Panchadashyam, produced by chanting the 15 hymns known as Samidheni mantras. Manishaya, by purified intelligence. Nishkarshanti, extract. Gudam, although not manifesting. Saha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vai, indeed. Mama, toward me. Asesha, all. Vishesha, varieties. Maya, of the illusory energy. Nishedha, by the process of negation. Nirvana, of liberation. Sukha anubhutihi, who is realized by transcendental bliss. Saha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva Nama, who is the source of all names. Saha, that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Cha, also. Vishwarupaha, the gigantic form of the universe. Prasidatam, may he be merciful. Anirukta, inconvincible. Atmasaktihi, the reservoir of all spiritual potencies. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Just as great learned Brahmanas who are expert in performing ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices can extract the fire dormant within wooden fuel by chanting the 15 Samidheni mantras. Thus proving the efficacy of the Vedic mantras. So those who are actually advanced in Krishna consciousness, in other words, those who are Krishna conscious, can find the super soul, who is by his own spiritual potency is situated within the heart. The heart is covered by the 3 modes of material nature and the 9 material elements, in the bracket, material nature, the total material energy, the ego, the mind, and the 5 objects of sense gratification. And also by the 5 material elements and the 10 senses. These 27 elements constitute the external energy of the Lord. Great yogis meditate upon the Lord, who is situated as the Super Soul, Paramatma, within the court of the heart. May that Super Soul be pleased with me. The Super Soul is realized within one, is eager for liberation from the unlimited varieties of material life. One actually attains such liberation when he engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord and realizes the Lord because of his attitude of service. The Lord may be addressed by various spiritual names which are inconceivable to the material senses. When will that Supreme Personality of Godhead be pleased with me? What is the example analogy given here in the verse? Analogy. One. Yes. Wood and fire. So is fire present in wood? It's present, right? But it's not visible. So that's an analogy given here. So there is fire within the wood. And those who are expert in chanting this 15-syllable Samidhena mantras, they can extract the fire from the wood. The wood is lying there, and you chant this mantra with your purity, smoke will come and then fire will come, without matching it, matching the light, without igniting. So that's the potency of this Vedic mantras. So that's the analogy given. So what this analogy is compared with? Why this analogy is given? Analogy is given with some comparison always, right? So what is this Hamsagurya prayers telling about? I told you, listen. Yes, Super Soul within the heart. So if you compare fire and wood, what is wood and what is Super Soul in that? Yes. Wood is a heart or body, right? So Super Soul, Paramatma, is residing in the heart of living entity, right? Are we able to perceive Super Soul in the heart? Do you know? Super Soul is there, right? So we are like that dead wood, but fire is there inside, right? So Super Soul is there inside, but we are not able to perceive. Just like, ordinary person, they cannot perceive there is fire within the wood. So who can perceive the Super Soul within the heart? In the translation, it's mentioned there. Advanced people, but specifically more than that. Yes, Mataji. Exactly. So Prabhupada clearly points out, it's not even just yogis or so-called spiritualists, but only bhakta, only devotees, only Krishna conscious person, only bhaktas can perceive the Super Soul within the heart. And body, this body is covered by what? That is also given. So in one sentence, if you have to say, you don't have to say all the 27 elements, but these are the material elements. The body is covered with material elements. So that is compared with wood. So okay, so you got it? So now purport. Again, please try to pay attention to what Prabhupada says. So he is giving explanation to these two verses. And he will put emphasis on particular one point that you have to catch. Purport. In this commentary to this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur uses the word durvigneyam, which means very difficult to realize. The pure stage of existence is described in Bhagavad Gita 7.28, wherein Krishna says, Yesham tva antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavrata. Translation. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 9.14, the Lord says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavrata Namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, those great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead after transcending all material impediments. Therefore, Lord Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita 7.3, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhye yatatam api siddhanam kaschid mam vetti tattvataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. To understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one must undergo severe penances and austerities. But since the path of devotional service is perfect, by following this process, one can very easily come to the spiritual platform and understand the Lord. This too is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18.55, wherein Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yas chasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gnatva vishate tad anantaram. One who can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Thus, although the subject matter is durvigneyam, extremely difficult to understand, it becomes easy if one follows the prescribed method. Coming in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is possible through pure devotional service, which begins with Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes a verse from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 2.8.5. Pravishtaha karna randrena shravana bhava saro ruham. The process of hearing and chanting enters the core of heart, and in this way one becomes pure devotee. By continuing this process, one comes to the stage of transcendental love, and then he appreciates the transcendental name, form, qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the other words, a pure devotee by devotional service is able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead despite many material impediments, which are all various energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Easily making this way through these impediments, a devotee comes directly in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After all, the material impediments described in these verses are but various energies of the Lord. When a devotee is eager to see Supreme Personality of Godhead, he prays to the Lord, Ainand Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishme Bhavambudo Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthiti Dule Sadrisham Vichindaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Being pleased with the devotee, the Lord turns all his material impediments into spiritual service. In this connection, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes a verse from Vishnu Puran, Hladini Sandhini Samvit Tvai Eka Sarva Samasthito Hlad Tapakari Mishra Tvai No Guno Varjite. In the material world, the spiritual energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is manifested as Tapakari, which means causing miseries. Everyone hankers for happiness, but although happiness originally comes from the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the material world, because of material activities, the pleasure potency of the Lord becomes a source of misery. Hlad Tapakari. False happiness in the material world is the source of distress. But when one's endeavor for happiness are redirected towards the satisfaction of Supreme Personality of Godhead, this tapkari element of misery is vanquished. An example given in this connection is that extracting fire from wood is certainly difficult. But when the fire comes out, it burns the wood to ashes. In other words, experiencing the Supreme Personality of Godhead is extremely difficult for those devoid of devotional service, but everything becomes easier for a devotee, and thus he can very easily meet the Supreme Lord. Here the prayers say that the form of the Lord is beyond the jurisdiction of material form and is therefore inconceivable. A devotee prays, however, My dear Lord, be pleased with me, so that I may very easily see your transcendental form and potency. Non-devotees try to understand the Supreme Brahman by discussions of neti, nisheda, nirvana, sukhanubhutihi. A devotee, however, simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord, avoids such laborious speculations and realizes the existence of the Lord very easily. Okay, so what is that one point Prabhupada is putting so much stress on in the whole purport? Be Krishna devotee, be Krishna's devotee. Anyone else wants to say? Yes, Prabhuji?
Yeah, the goal is difficult to reach, but if you follow the bhakti process, then it's easy.
Yes. So Prabhupada is quoting Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, verses from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, that yes, just like fire in the wood can be difficult to extract. Of course, by chanting those mantras, nowadays we cannot do that. We don't have that purity. But nonetheless, it is possible. But it is very difficult. So similarly, realizing Supreme Lord within our heart is very, very difficult. but it is same time very easy. Those who are devotee of the Lord, those who are servants of the Lord, those who are engaged in devotional service of the Lord, for them it is very, very easy. And Prabhupada has given series of Bhagavad Gita verses where Krishna repeatedly says, for my devotee, it's very easy, they will come to me. So, this section of Bhagavatam, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, is called Hamsaguhya prayers. Is everyone following Śrīmad Bhāgavatam classes? Those who are not, may not be aware of what is happening here. I shall give a little bit background. So, this chapter started with the question of Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami, that please describe secondary creation. And Parikshit Maharaj started the description of secondary creation, in which Prachitas, 10 sons of Prachini Bahari, comes, and then from them Daksha was born, and then Daksha offered these prayers, Hamsaguhya prayers. So we are reading this Hamsaguhya prayers. By the way, these Hamsaguhya prayers, Prabhupada says, they were already existing in the Vedas. They are not composed by Daksha. So what happens? 10 sons of Prachini Bahari, after receiving instruction from their father, they went to do some austerities. So for a long, long time, they performed severe austerities. And meanwhile, King Prachin Bahari also retired, and he also engaged himself in full-fledged devotional service, dedicating his whole time for serving the Lord. So without any king on the earth, there was no one to govern and properly manage the affairs of the land. And there was no agricultural land, for example, and trees grew everywhere. So whole earth got covered by trees. It became dense forest. So when Prachitas came out of their austerities, they saw that everything is covered by trees. What is this? What is happening here? And that angered them. No one is looking after earth. What is the use of so many trees here? What about other living entities? How will they survive? So out of their intense anger, they threw fire and they started burning the trees. Immediately, the moon god, who is caretaker of especially trees, came to rescue their dependents, and he requested 10 Prachitas, please don't do this. And to pacify him, he offered daughter of Apsara, who was later on raised by these trees, as a wife to all the Prachitas. And Prachitas got married to her, and then through that union, Daksha was born. Now Daksha, as soon as Daksha comes in our mind, what comes in our mind? Have you heard about Daksha? Daksha, yes, Daksha means expert. But if you have read previous cantos, what comes in our mind when we hear name of Daksha? Offenses, Vaishnava Aparadh, and anger, envy, right? So this is what comes. But let's take another side of Daksha Prajapati. Again, we have a lot of lessons to learn from that pastime also. And so in that Manvantar, Chakshusha Manvantar, which Manvantar that happened? Swayambhu Manu, yeah. So that Manvantar, we heard that pastime in the third canto, that he got offended by Lord Shiva, although Lord Shiva didn't offend him. And he got angry, and then fight happened between Lord Shiva's devotees and followers of Daksha. And in the end, it was a happy ending. Daksha got killed. But then situation got settled by Lord Brahma. And he was given head of a goat and brought back to life. So he lived with that head of goat for whole Manvanta. How embarrassing that would be. Can you imagine? But nonetheless, he continued his duty. And then after that, he quit his body. And for 5 Manvantars, he is performing severe austerities. Such a long time. Can we perform austerity for one day? Our greatest austerity comes on, Gaur Purnima or Janmashtami. On the day we have to fast. And, especially around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the evening, you will see our austerity capacity. We feel like, just rest and, sleep or eat something. We are gone. But for 5 Manvantars, he performed severe austerity. And then comes this scenario. So here, then after 5 Manvantars, he took birth as son of Prachetas. And yes, Aditi, whose son is Indra and so many other demigods. Who is the father of Aditi? Daksha Prajapati. So, as I said, when we hear about Daksha, it comes that, Vaishnava Prad and anger and envy. But yes, he is having the good side as well. Lesson to learn. Yes, of course, great people also can commit mistakes. So we have to be very careful. We have to learn that lesson from Daksha. But same time, such a personality is not ordinary. The people who are in mode of passion, they take birth on earthly planet, right? Like us. Those who are in mode of goodness, they take birth on heavenly planets. But even beyond heavenly planets, Tapaloka, Janaloka, there are higher planetary system. Actually, Prajapatis live there. So they are even greater in terms of position to demigods. So Daksha Prajapati is not an ordinary person. So here's little background that Daksha comes and he offers these prayers to please Lord Vishnu. Now, of course, later on it will be revealed that he has desire. Of course, he is Prajapati, so he has desire to do secondary creation, and he wants Lord's blessing and empowerment to do so. So, one can say, yes, it is not completely pure intention, but nonetheless, it is part of creation. It is part of devotional service to Lord's system. He is son of Lord Brahma, and then he became Prajapati, and then he is doing secondary creation. So these prayers, Hamsa Guhya prayers, someone had put question, asked me question that please explain what is the meaning of Hamsa Guhya Hamsa Guhya. What is the word meaning Hamsa Guhya? Why these prayers are called Hamsa Guhya? Hamsa means a swan. And Guhya means cave or very secret or very difficult to understand, very hidden. So when you put together together these two words, Hamsa Guhya, means Hamsa is a symbol of purity, right? They are not like crows. We hear in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam in first canto that verse comes where transcendentalists, Paramhamsa are being defined. Who are these Paramhamsas? They don't take pleasure in the literatures which doesn't talk about Lord Krishna or devotional service. Rather, those literatures are the pilgrimage place for the crows. So if you compare these two birds, where do you find swans? In nice, beautiful, serene, natural settings, right? Where the beautiful lake is, mountains, nice water, clean water, and they live there. They like to be in that place. Do you see any swans in city? Not Swanston Street. They don't come even on Swanston Street, you know. They don't come. But do you see crows in city and around us? Yes. So where do they reside? Generally where they are found? Garbage places, right? Where there is filthy substance lying around. They are very much eager to be there. So these are the differences. In Mukundamala Stotra, it is described that the sport for the swans, do you know how they sport? What is their favorite sport? They like to go to the waters where there are nice lotuses, and they like to entangle themselves in the stems of those lotus. And then they again try to free them out. So that's their sport. That's how they enjoy. Such a nice sport, isn't it? And do you know what is favorite sport of crows? I haven't witnessed, but I heard from someone who has witnessed that. So this person, a devotee, mentions that he was standing nearby one building and someone spits from window. And he saw one crow flies, and before that spit hits the ground, he grabs. This crow grabs it and flies away. This is his sport. So this is the difference between two personalities. So these Paramhamsas are like this pure Hamsa, pure-hearted devotees who enjoy the literature which describes the devotional service and which glorifies the Lord. So Hamsa Guhya prayers means the prayers which are very secret to these Paramhamsas. Only these Paramhamsas, as Prabhupada mentions in his purport, only a devotee, Krishna conscious devotee, knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these Paramhamsas only this Paramhamsas has the perfect understanding of Vedic literature, and they know the essence, which is actually not commonly perceived or understood by common people, by non-devotees. So only devotees know. So this is this is why it is called Guhya, it is hidden. And if you read these verses, you will come across the same theme. Just like this verse also speaks about fire within the wood. So it's hidden. So these verses have this particular theme, that Supreme Personality of Godhead is very much hidden. It is not easily visible, it is not easily accessible, it is not easily achievable. But for Paramhamsas, it is very much possible, very easy. So this is how we understand this meaning, Hamsa Guhya. The prayers offered by these Paramhamsas, which are very confidential in nature. Now, straightforward explanation is given by Srila Prabhupada. Only devotees can know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here I would just take one pastime from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it is described that only by Lord's mercy one can understand Supreme Lord. No one else can understand. So the setting is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath Puri. First time he came to Jagannath Puri. And there he met Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya at that time wasn't a devotee. He was not Vaishnava. Rather, he was a great scholar, very renowned scholar. He was very renowned all over India. His scholarship was such that he had many students learning under him the Vedas. But he was bereft of the essence of the Vedas, which is to please Lord Krishna, which is to worship Lord Krishna. So Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri and happened to see Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And there, first time when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he thought that yes, he is such a great personality, such a young, attractive man. He has taken sannyas. How he will be able to maintain the sannyas ashram? I will teach him Vedanta and I will protect him. So he had that mood and he had that desire. His sister's husband, hold on, where is that section first of all? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Yeah, chapter 6, but I am looking for that verse. I am on chapter 6 now, where Gopinath Bhattacharya, Gopinath Acharya, sorry, he mentions. Gopinath Acharya acknowledges Sanambhomam. Yes, here it is. How come I did not write here? Oh, here it is. Yeah, 89. Sorry, 89th verse. Yeah. So what happens then? Gopinath-Acharya, he is a pure devotee. He understands who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. He knows very well that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Lord Krishna. But he was quite unhappy with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who says that, oh, he is just an sannyasi, but he is very, very exalted sannyasi. But no, he cannot be accepted as Supreme Lord. And then argument happens between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his disciples with Gopinath Bhattacharya. So the argument goes forth and back. And then Gopinath Bhattacharya gives the conclusion that, it's although evident in front of you that he is Supreme Lord, but still you cannot understand him, you cannot know him, because you are bereft of his mercy. Only those who have mercy of the Supreme Lord can know the Supreme Lord. And so one has to have mercy of the Supreme Lord. Are we all fortunate? Yes? Yeah? Are we all better than in position to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the scholar Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, not when he became devotee. Yes, because we know, we accept Lord Krishna, and we accept Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya at that time he wasn't, because he wasn't having any mercy. So, yes, we have received this mercy from Lord. It is not actually our qualification. We should never ever think that we are qualified. By our own qualification we have become devotee. This is great illusion, if we think like that. It is only by mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, his devotees, that made us qualified to practice devotional service and made us today what we are today in devotional service. So it is not at all our qualification. Never ever think like that. We are totally unqualified to become devotee. So here Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya mentions that only by devotional service one can know Krishna. When you do devotional service to Lord Krishna, Lord gives mercy to that person, and then you can understand, then you can know him. So these disciples are asking that, okay, we take that point, but what is the proof that you have received Lord's mercy and we haven't? How do you know? So he said, it's self-evident. Just see. Just see the symptoms exhibited by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That itself proves that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada gives an example that there is a heat nearby. So through introspection, what you can guess, where there must be what? Fire nearby, isn't it? So without fire there cannot be heat. So see the symptoms in this personality, this person, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that actually describes that only Supreme Personality of Godhead has these symptoms. So you have symptoms so that you can know what the substance is. Gopinath Bhattacharya says that. So all the 6 opulences are seen in this personality, but still you put your eyes away from seeing this. You are keeping yourself blind because you are not referring to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and Mahabharata. Rather you are taking different sections of other literature and trying to understand the Supreme Lord by hypothesis and speculation. You cannot understand. So here Gopinath Bhattacharya replied, I am reading the verse from Madhya Lila 6 chapter 89. Gopinath Acharya replied, knowledge of the Samam Bonam, the absolute truth, is evident of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Knowledge of the Samam Bonam, the absolute truth, is evident of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So when they ask, what is the proof that you have received mercy? So he is saying that, I can see the symptoms in him. That itself is evidence that I have received mercy. That's why I am able to see. And you are not able to see, although it is in front of you. Still you are not able to see because you haven't received mercy. So that itself proves that I have received mercy. The symptoms I can see. Purport. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya informed his brother-in-law, Gopinath Acharya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead may not have shown mercy to me, but what is the proof of his having shown it to you? Kindly let us know about this. In reply to this, Gopinath Acharya said that the Samam Bonam, the absolute truth, and his different potencies are identical. Therefore, one can understand the substance of the absolute truth by the manifestations of the different potencies. The Samam Bonam includes all potencies in one spirit. The absolute truth combined with different characteristics is the original substance. Thus, the Vedas state that the absolute truth has different potencies. When one understands the characteristics of the potencies of the absolute truth, one is aware of the absolute truth. On the material platform as well, we can understand the substance by the manifestations of its symptoms. For example, when there is heat, it is to be understood that there is fire. The heat of the fire is perceived directly. The fire may not be visible, but one can search out the fire by feeling the heat. Similarly, if one can perceive the characteristics of the absolute truth, we can know that he has understood the substance of the absolute truth by the mercy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.25 it is said, Naham prakasha sarvasya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. Sevan mukhehi jivado swayam eva spurati adaha. The Lord reveals himself to the devotee when he is completely satisfied by the devotee's service. Thus, one cannot understand the Supreme Lord without his mercy. The absolute truth cannot be understood by speculation, and this is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. So this is the same conclusion Prabhupada gives in purport of these two verses, that by devotional service one can understand Supreme Lord. No one else can understand Supreme Lord. So here I take any questions, if you have any comments, any corrections, and then we can close. Yes, Hare Krishna. Oh, so her question is, I said that only people in mode of goodness, they go to heaven, but how come Durvas Muni is seen angry all the time? Right? So yes, same goes with Daksha Prajapati, as I mentioned. So these personalities, they are not completely pure. Those who are completely pure, they are pure devotees. They are in spiritual world, and time to time they would come here to uplift us. No doubt about that. But we all living entities are up to some degree contaminated, less or more, and we all are on our path of perfection. So you talk about Durvas Muni or Daksha Prajapati. There is some bad part as well in their character. So, lesson to learn is from their such incidences. For example, Daksha Muni gets angry, Daksha Prajapati got envious and got angry. Even Lord Indra comes into this kind of situation quite often, we see. But there are lessons to learn from there. Right? So they can also, even such a great personalities also can make mistakes. So who are we? What is our position? So there are lessons to learn. So anyone can make mistakes. But then what you learn from those mistakes, and you don't repeat that mistake. That is important. Any other question? Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samveta Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Tamaham bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham bhajami Angani yasa sakale Priya Priya